What if your nearest neighbor was a horizon away, and the only road was the sky? A radio stutters in the cold. Fuel is thin. A storm builds like a wall. Somewhere, a pulse falters. The clock starts. Oh, the dispatch crackles. A patient crashing in a village with no road, no hospital, only a wind-battered clinic. A weather window. 3 hours. Pilots check ice forecasts. Medics count syringes. Out here is breath. Across a planet laced with fiber and satellites, there are still rooms where silence is louder than any city. Outposts cling to edges of ocean, ice, desert, and jungle. Threads of human at a time. On the world's most isolated inhabited island, children recite lessons over wind that never stops. A teacher points at a chalkboard. Outside, foam pounds a quay built by stubborn hands. The mail comes by ship. High in the Himalaya, a herder braids rope while snow spools from a cornice like smoke. One pass closes, another opens. Yaks nudge a door. The next village is a day's walk, maybe 2 if wind turns cruel. On a cattle station larger than a country, a single motorbike threads red earth. The nearest town is a horizon and a half. Water is pumped from a bore. News rides on UHF chatter. A fence line? Near the top of the world, the sun disappears for months. Houses glow like embers buried in snow. Footsteps squeak on hardpack. The sea becomes a ceiling. If a generator stumbles, it's physics. In the rainforest, the map is green and moving. A canoe noses a brown vein of river flanked by leaves as wide as shields. Mosquitoes whine like wires. The nearest clinic is downstream. It sulks. At 40 below, metal forgets it is metal. Eyelashes freeze. Breath crystallizes. A lone truck coughs to life, its engine a prayer. A lost glove is a story with a bad ending. Distance isn't just miles, it's risk compounded. A fever spikes in the night. A broken ankle on a wet rock becomes a week-long saga. Every choice is heavier than it looks. Back on the tundra, the pilots weigh numbers like surgeons. Ceiling 600 feet, icing light to moderate, crosswind flirting with red lines. 2 hours out, 1 back, none to spare. On the Atlantic Rock, the supply ship is late. Swell 8 last week. The storekeeper counts flour sacks with a pencil. Smiles anyway. Islanders trade eggs for diesel. Stories for patience. A narrow plank bridge sways above blue water, cold as knives. Boots test every board. A radio hangs at a monk's hip, plastic bright against centuries-old stone. They're the same wind. In the outback, heat turns the road into a mirage river. A wildfire flares beyond a line of blackened mallee. Farmers trade wind direction and fuel loads on a white arc of hope. Polar night eats the horizon. Snow machines vanish into blue. A sign warns, carry a rifle. Ice bears pad the edge of town, as if checking on the neighbors, and daylight remembered. The river rises and rewrites the jungle. A health worker checks a child's arm for fever, then bangs a motor to life with a wrench. Out here, arms are as dear as gold. A truck's radiator gives up 30 miles from a village, whose name means warm spring. Warmth feels like a rumor. A local taps a fuel line with a spoon, listens like from iron. A dish points at a sky no one owns. Latency is a new kind of weather. A child's first video call blinks to life, grandmother waving from a continent away. Tears and laughter. The medevac door slams, propeller blur. Ice reports ping in the headset like hail. A nurse straps down a kit and whispers a promise to air. The map is a line. The reality is gust and Voices ride the ionosphere. At dusk, radio hobbyists schedule a check-in. One in a desert hut, one on a stormy island, one under spruce so heavy with snow they bend. Invisible wires braid straight. Crane swings a crate stamped with foreign postmarks onto a lonely pier. Inside, antibiotics, ball bearings, and a bag of letters. Supply isn't commerce here. It's continuity. Silence can be loud. After the generator cuts, the only sound is your heart and a far-off wave arguing with rock. In that quiet, you count the tasks that keep life stitched. Water. Hope. The crosswind stiffens. The strip is a smear of gravel beside surf. Waves explode in white fists. The pilot's jaw sets. The nurse squeezes a strap. Commitment point past. A world away, hooves drum snow into steam. The pass narrows to a throat. A slab of corn growls, then settles. The caravan moves only when the mountain allows.
Back on the Red Plains, a wind shift turns a backburn into a runaway edge. Radios snap with clipped commands. A grader throws a dirt berm as if sketching a lifeline across a canvas that could ignite again in minutes. Gray. One leaks, another coughs. Still they go. Tow lines ready, eyes on swell rhythm. There are no backups when your harbor is the last comma before the page. Gravel, bounce, grip. The nurse is out the door before the prop stops, boots sinking in slush. Inside a clinic bright as noon under strip lights, a bag opens, syringes bloom, oxygen sighs like a follows, radios murmur thanks into the static. On the rock in the Atlantic, candles pinch light from night in a blue-walled church. In the desert, soot-streaked faces lean against utes. The smell of wet ash sharpens the value of simple things. A full tank, a dry match, a neighbor who knows the path in fog. It also reveals a modern truth. The cable across the sea and the signal from the sky can be. World's edges depend on strangers they'll never meet. What do the centers owe the margins? The map looks smaller from orbit. On the ground, it is still walked, paddled, flown.